Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for those who are committed to taking control of their trading in order to achieve success, profitability, and longevity. Thank you for joining us. Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessATrader.com nightly wrap-up show. Hope everybody is doing well. Guys, kindly do me a solid. Take a moment out, click a like, support the channel, share, subscribe, and hopefully, again, I can continue to add value. So here's basically a very, very slim version, okay, of what we're looking at here. So last Wednesday, we had obviously the 90-day extension for pretty much every single country on the planet that we are trying to negotiate tariffs with, for the exception of China, right? That was that big 10% plus run on the QQQ on the NASDAQ composite. Since then, for the last, even before, right, we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row of now higher lows, right? That is really, really bullish, okay? I don't care if you've been trading for 30 years or 30 minutes or somewhere in between. I think everybody knows what this is, right? This is like what everybody, it doesn't make a difference. Social media, in classes in Harvard, E-Trade traders, whatever the case may be. Everybody knows this is a flag, right? Everybody knows. Here's your staff. I don't want to say the other word, right? But here's your staff, here's your flag. So the longer we build this staff, the higher probability that we are going to really aggressively move. The question is this a bull or bear staff? You can say your opinion, whatever you want. We don't know. That's the whole point. We don't know yet, okay? We've been now trapped underneath the 20-day moving average for the last 4 sessions, but we are above and hugging the 5-day moving average for the last 4 sessions as well. We are getting tighter and tighter. That's what she said, right? And eventually, when we come out of this channel, either reclaiming back the 20-day moving average or losing the 5, we are going to have an exaggerated move, guys, an absolutely exaggerated move. The question is when and which side. That's it. That's literally the question, when and which side. If you traded today and you're a professional trader, you kind of saw the same thing I did. Stocks weren't strong enough, right? And we'll get to a couple of levels in a second. Stocks weren't strong enough for the generality of it to push through that 20-day supply, but they weren't weak enough to lose the 5-day support. And that's a very, very important understanding. Up to the afternoon, there was literally one stock above the previous day's channel, right? It was actually 2 for the day. So the only 2 names that were above the previous day's channel was Netflix, right? Netflix reclaimed back the 50-day moving average, got some short-term $1,000 calls, and the last one was PLTR, right? These are the only 2 names that price improved above the previous day. There was no other name in the mega cap space that even came close. However, if you are looking at stocks and you want to see exactly how they fare compared to where the NASDAQ 100 is, they're all mirror images. So take a snapshot of the QQQ chart, right? Take a snapshot, right? You got the staff, you got the flag. Now let me throw you a million looking charts. AMD looks exactly like the Qs. Tesla looks exactly like the Qs. NVIDIA looks exactly, you follow my, you're picking up what I'm putting down? Literally every stock right now is in a stall pattern. Now, the question is, are we in a distribution? And for all you guys who are brand new traders, distribution is when a market is tired one way or another. It doesn't have to be up, doesn't have to be down. It's one way or another. Obviously, we had a really, really great run on the NASDAQ 100 on the Qs from 402 all the way up to 467. So the question is, right, the question is this waiting to go higher? Or is this just one of those distribution cycles that are starting that as much as the market looks impressive on the surface, all it takes is one day to lose the previous day's range and down we go? That is an impossible question. It's an impossible question to answer. It's an impossible question to guess. It's a rhetorical question. In the next 24 to 48 hours, I have to assume we're either going to explode through the 20-day or lose the 5. That's it. There's really no more aspects of this having this conversation. We're below the 20 and above the 5. Something has to give here, okay? Something has to give. And if you traded today, you'll notice, and if you're a very new trader, you'll notice there was something called chop, right? There's something called chop. Again, stocks just weren't heavy enough to come in, and they weren't strong enough to go up. And the question is, tomorrow, do we get this break? Now, here's the answer, right? Here's the answer. Friday, we're closed, right? Friday, we're closed. We are closed because of Good Friday ahead of the Easter weekend. So is it possible tomorrow, because tomorrow's Wednesday already, is it possible we have a light day Wednesday and a light day Thursday while this distribution channel is being built? It's very possible, right? It's absolutely very possible. Again, if you're traveling and the majority of traders are traveling and the sellers are comfortable at these levels, they're just going to continue to build this flag. Again, we don't know which way they're going to confirm. You would think based on that staff, keeping it PG, right? From last Wednesday, it's going to be a bull flag going higher. But again, at the end of the day, and if you look at the big picture, we are still below the 200-day moving average, and that's super duper bearish on a macro scale. So I think in the next 24, 48 hours, we have to be extremely ready on both sides. Here are the names I am watching, right? Here's the name I'm watching. PLTR, this is now the highest close in the whole formation, right? You see this? The highest close here was on 325. This is now the highest close of the whole formation. We saw some 425, $109 calls. We saw a really, really big buyer come in this morning. It was either 105 or 109 calls. This is now the highest close in the whole formation, right? One of the very few names that are above their previous day's channel. I'm assuming if we can rally tomorrow and PLTR starts, taking down that a psychological $100 area, there's a lot of airspace, man. There's really, really a lot of airspace. Keep an eye on PLTR. AMD, right? Look how tight this flag is, folks. All it needs to do is reclaim back last Wednesday's highs. If it does so, this thing's going to jam. Look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA today, right out the gate, we saw massive, right out the gate, massive 115, 116, 117, 118, 120 calls for either a weekly expiration or for next week's expiration. Again, same thing with the NASDAQ, same thing with AMD, same thing with NVIDIA. It needs to get back above last Wednesday's high, or obviously if it loses the 5-day moving average, just like pretty much on any name, those names are going to react with an expansion channel. Look at Tesla, right? Look at Tesla today. Tesla is getting ridiculously tight, folks. Look how tight this is. This is just like the Qs. Under the 20, above the 5. Under the 20, above the 5. Something's got to give here, okay? I will be ready on both sides. We saw some really impressive 270, 275, 280 weeklies come in. Let's see, man. Let's see. Again, I would love to see a Tesla run. I would love it. Again, every stock is cool when they run. There's nothing that feels better, nothing that hits harder, nothing that feels more euphoric than a nice Tesla candle. I think we all appreciate that. So keep an eye on that as well. There's some names that are not participating, right? There's some names that are not flagging. I mean, look at Amazon. Something's wrong here, right? Look at Amazon. Amazon today is below the 5-day moving average. This is now the lowest close in the whole formation. Let's keep an eye on this thing. This thing held virtually the April 11th lows. Let's keep an eye on it. If the market does yank, this thing looks ready to go. Look at Meta. I actually lost money on Meta today. I had a very slow day. I shorted some Meta. My computer for some reason froze. I lost a little bit of money. Then I bounced some Tesla, made a little bit of money back. I had a very uneventful day, but that's okay. Uneventful days are good, right? They're very, very good because, again, you're not burning your mental equity. You're looking for the big picture, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do on a day-to-day basis. You don't trade because the market's open. You trade because you get value. Today, because we were so tight, because we're going through distribution, because the channels are contracting today, you want to save your ammo, you want to save your money, you want to save your brain cells, because eventually, like I said, in the next 24 to 48 hours, we're going to really come out of these channels. channels and come out of these channels with extreme prejudice. But look at Meta, right, guys? This is now Meta, the lowest close here. This thing's given back pretty much half the bar of last Wednesday's highs. Again, if the market starts getting hit and we lose the 5-day, this is definitely one to watch to the downside as well. So we are prepared, folks. We are prepared. If you go through your charts tonight, you will see there's a million stocks that look like NVIDIA. There's a million stocks that look like AMD. There's a million stocks that look like Tesla. And all they need to do is control the narrative and keep building this bull flag and confirm last Wednesday's highs. If they don't and they fail and start losing the previous 5-day, yes, I will be absolutely with no hesitation to get re-short, because again, at the end of the day, everything is happening below the 200-day moving average. There's a theory here that Trump is running out of ammo, okay? And this is why stocks are getting a little bit tired. I don't believe in that. I believe in price action over other people's opinions. And the longer we continue to build, because again, remember, we're 7 days putting in higher lows. That's data. Whether we finally get below that is a different story tomorrow. But I'm telling you, folks, save your mental equity, because in the next 24 to 48 hours, we're either going to reclaim the 20 and absolutely explode, or we're going to lose the 5 and start to go back to the downside. Guys, God bless everybody. Have a great, great night. And God bless. I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care, everybody.